So in my last video, I spoke about how I make over 5K a month sending cold emails using AI, and I got a lot of questions about, how do I get my leads? How do I contact these people? How much do you charge per meeting? How do you do this? How do you do that? And more people wanted me to go more in depth. So I'm going to make a full on guide in this video about how you can make over 5K a month sending cold emails using AI. So what I have in front of you here is a shitty Google Doc presentation that I made, but I promise you, if you actually listen and apply the information that I teach you here, you can actually change your life. So let's go ahead and just hop right in. So I'm just going to go over a few basics first, over what a lead generation agency is, how to use cold email, so on and so forth, just to kind of recap and refresh your mind. And then from there, I'll go into new information and more in depth about how you actually go about doing this entire process. Okay? So first things first, what is a lead generation agency, right? So a lead generation agency is essentially you are the middleman between two companies, right? And what your job is to connect your client to their ideal prospect. So for example, you could be working with a Facebook ads agency here in Texas that wants to work with all the gyms in Texas, right? And what your job is to connect the Facebook ads agency to the gyms in Texas with a booked meeting, right? That is basically what you do. Or, for example, I know people wanted me to give examples of what my clients do. One of my clients, he makes TikTok content for lawyers and doctors. So what my job is to do is to connect him to these lawyers and doctors, right? That is essentially it. You're just the middleman connecting the two your client to their ideal prospects with a booked meeting, right? So second, what is cold email and what are the benefits of using it? Why should I use it, right? So if you've ever gotten a random phone call, let's say it's like a random number, you pick up and they're like, hey, I know you that it's summer and we're selling you swim shorts for like $24 at our store, blah blah blah. They're basically pitching you something, right? That is basically a cold call, right? Well, cold email is essentially the same thing. You're pitching them something, but it's over email, obviously, right? Now, the main benefits of using cold email versus something like cold calling is that you can reach out to anybody in the world. There's over, I believe, 1 or 2 billion users on Gmail, so you can really reach out to billions of people via cold email, and you can automate the entire process. You don't have to go through the entire process of picking up the phone, dialing the person's number, calling them, speaking to them for like 1 to 2 minutes, hanging up, and then calling another person again and again. You can automate this entire process by using cold email by simply pitching your services to these people, right? That is the benefit of cold email. It's essentially you can target anybody in the world at any city or any market. That is the main benefit, as long as you have a email list. Now, let's go ahead and get into some new stuff that I have for you guys. So before you even start reaching out to these people, before you even start to get on calls and charge prices and whatnot, you need to first create a offer, right? You must learn not to be a commodity, but instead an actual service that gets people results, right? And I highly suggest, if you want to, really kickstart your lead, if you really want to kickstart your lead generation process, highly suggest read this book, $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozi. This is one of the best books I've ever read in my life. Like, genuinely speaking, it's 99 cents on Kindle. So if you can't afford that, I don't know what to fucking tell you, but go ahead, go read this book. I'll leave it in the description. I'm not even affiliated. That's how good this book is. Even if you're a SMMA owner or you're an e-commerce store owner and you do drop shipping or lead generation specifically, this is a fantastic book. It'll basically teach you how to create offers and how to appeal to people's pain points and how to essentially market people, right? So it's a really good book. So what do I mean by learning to be not a commodity, but an actual service? So what do I mean by that, right? So instead of saying instead of, I guess, starting outreach and saying something like, hey, I'll help you book meetings with lawyers. Let's say you go to a Facebook ads agency and you're like, I'll help you book meetings with lawyers. They're going to be, but the agency owner will be like, okay, so I get thousands of these emails every single day. What makes you different compared to everybody else? This offer right here, I help you book meetings with lawyers, is a commodity. What that means is everybody's doing it. It's basically saturated to the point where, why should they pick you over anybody else or everybody else, right? What is the point of picking you, right? Everybody uses that offer. You can instead say something like, I'll help you add an extra 30,000 in revenue in 6 months with AI cold outbound. Now you might be saying like, whoa, how did you get $30,000? Well, if you think about it logically, if you book them meetings, they'll probably close a few clients. If they close a few clients, they get money. So this and this offer is essentially the same thing, but it just appeals more, right? It's basically more appealing. I don't know how to the exact word for it, but you can equate this I'll book you meetings with this. It's just less saturated as well as a better overall offer, but the mechanism in which you basically get them the results is the same thing. This it's just this. It's basically market sophistication, and you have to get to this point to where you can say this and equate it to this, right? It's basically the same thing. And that's why I suggest for you guys to read this book so that you don't blast out this offer and you get rejected. But you can say something like this and start getting meetings immediately. So before you get started, go ahead, read this book. I'll leave it in the description below. So as for how to actually find emails and automate sending it, right? So how do I actually go about finding these emails? I got this question a few times in my last YouTube video. So what I like to use, there's many databases you can use, but this is probably the most beginner friendly. It's called Apollo.io, right? And I believe somebody in the comments, he was saying how he basically already has this, but he's struggling on finding, I guess, people to reach out to. So let me move myself right here. So let me just show you. Once you log in and once you create an account and whatnot, you'll come to this search page, right? Or you'll probably be at home. Come to the search page, and this is just a really quick overview. And what you want to do is go down here, click on job titles, and then it'll say search for a job title. You can just put CEO, I spelled that wrong, CEO, owner, and press enter, and then founder. And then once you have those job titles, right, they'll give you all the job titles that match that. What you want to do is you want to go to right here, company keywords, and I'm assuming for most of you, you want to reach out to SMMA owners. Just put in marketing agency, right, for including keywords. And then what you can also put is social media marketing. And then boom, that's 39,000 people just like that, just to reach out to. So any keywords related to SMMA, I don't know if SMMA would actually be a good term to put in here, but any keywords relating to that, you can put this in there. And what you do from here is you can just get the email from Apollo, right? It's a process of clicking save and whatnot, but this is primarily how you just get emails, how you search for these people. I'd also suggest you put the location to wherever you're at, so US, UK, whatever, and the job titles to be founder, owner, co-founder, whatnot. But I'll leave this in the description. That's basically how I go about getting my leads. And the second thing is, okay, now that I have these leads, how do I automate this process like you said? Well, I'll leave another link in the description. This is called Instantly.ai. This is how I send my emails and how I basically automate the process. To sign up to this, I believe the first 2 weeks are free. And there's a lot of technical stuff to setting up the emails and whatnot. I'm not going to go over that in this video. But what I do suggest you do is get Instantly.ai. And once you get it, you want to go down here to Instantly Accelerator. They have basically like a setup guide, and you want to go to setup right here, and you can just go through this entire process. They literally show you how to actually, how to do everything from A to Z, step 1 to step 100, and basically it tells you everything that you need to know just right here. So again, just go to Instantly.ai if you want to know how to go about setting up that cold emails, sending cold emails. Just click this rocket right here, go to setup, and it will show you everything there. And as for leads, go to apollo.io. Use the same filters that I did here: CEO, owner, founder. I would also put president, vice president, co-founder, co-owner, whatnot, as well as the industry keywords. Just put anything related to social media marketing, right? That's basically how I get my leads and how I send my cold emails, right? Now, once you have your leads and once you set up everything, you might be saying, okay, how do I actually go about, writing these emails? How do I do this? How do I hop on calls, whatnot? This is basically the email format that I use here. Um, think of this like a sentence, right? So what I like to usually start out with is I'll be like, hey, first name, so whatever the first name is, and then this is how I go about it. I usually start off with like an icebreaker, something about where the person is from. So I'll say like, hey, first name, I found you guys while searching for marketing agencies in Dallas. It's something that whenever you pull this data from Apollo, you can actually see where the city that they're from, and I just throw that in there. I found you guys while searching for marketing agencies in Dallas. You guys have some good reviews. Something like that. Doesn't necessarily have to be that, but that's an easy icebreaker you can use. And then I can say we help, and then your offer. So you can say we help you add an extra 30,000 in revenue in 6 months with AI cold outbound, right? So whatever your offer is, go read that. Go read Alex Hormozi's book. Create an offer for your industry. And then I like to say a case study if you have a case study, if you've done something in the past, but most of you probably don't. And then a CTA, a call to action. So something like, hey, would this be something you're interested in? Can I send along more info? Are you open to learning more? It's a quick little. You always want to end your emails in a question, so a call to action. Like, can I send more information? Would this be something you're interested in? Are you open to learning about this more? Something like that, right? That's basically a quick email format guide. Now, as for sales, you might be saying, okay, I'm sending out my emails. I booked a few meetings. Now, what do I say on the sales call? So there's a bunch of guides on sales and how I go about sales format. What I suggest you do is watch people like Alex Hormozi. He's the same guy that made this book, $100 million Offers. He has really good sales videos on YouTube. Jeremy Miner, Grant Cardone, Andy Elliott, just to name a few. If I had to pick one, I would again watch Alex Hormozi because his sales videos are very good, and that's what I used to gain. That's why I used to get better at sales. So I would say watch these guys, watch how they go about selling and how basically a 2-call close works and whatnot. Go ahead and watch them and then just learn sales from them. Now, with that being said, there's one last question that I had, which was pricing. As for pricing, I would charge them about $200 to $400 per meeting, right? So it really depends on how much your client makes from one client, right? So if your client makes like $20,000 from one prospect, I would charge them $400. I'll be honest with you. But if your client makes like 5,000, 3,000, I would charge them $200 per meeting. I don't like to go below 200, and if you go above 400 as a beginner, you're probably gonna get a lot of no's. So just experiment around. I would experiment 200 to 300, but 400 maybe if you are comfortable in your sales process. But that is basically it for pricing, right? Now, with that being said, that's pretty much all I have in this video. If you have any other questions, go ahead and connect with me on Instagram, on Twitter. I'll leave it in the description below, and you can go ahead and ask me more questions. But if not, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys learned something new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.